Hey everybody, Greg Rice, not in the bucket today. I'm at the home studio hanging out with Chi Chi. She don't say much. Sad story today. Sad story about a tenant in Central Falls. I was at the office yesterday and a woman was waiting for me as I came in. I had a 11 o'clock appointment and she was waiting there. I asked her how I could help her and she had a notice that we had sent her. So whenever I see a tenant in the office with one of our Nexus letters, I'm like, all right, see what they say, right? It's usually not a good thing. Like they're usually pretty upset. So I sat down with her, and she was very kind, very soft spoken, very gentle, a single mother, and her rent was being raised from $1,100 to $1,500 as of January 1st. And we sent her the notice back in October, so she had more time than required there to prepare for that. But in any event, she came in, and I was asking her. I said, what was your rent, when you moved in? And she goes, oh, when I moved in, it was $600, and that was I think she said it was like 6 or 7 years ago, and her rent's now being raised by $400, which is like almost 40% increase. And I said, are you going to be able to afford this? And she goes, well, I make 16 an hour times 40. That's 640. After taxes, I get about 500. And, times 4 weeks, that's about 2,000 a month that I make. And it's me and my daughter. And I have to pay the gas bill. I have to pay the electric, the TV, the internet, and food. And, at this point, I'm going to have to get a part-time job because I don't have the extra $400 to come up with, and it's just it's a sad thing when people are in those spots because yes, the rents are totally conducive to the purchase price, right, and the operating expense and the taxes and the insurance, all the things that I've been talking about for years. But at the end of that rope is a person, right? And it's a person with a family, and it's a person with needs, right? And emotions and feelings. And they, are really the last one in line. And she can't go anywhere, right? She can't pay first in security. She can barely pay this rent increase. So what happens with tenants a lot of times is they get forced into paying higher rents just because it's almost like financing for them. It's cheaper to stay now than it is for them to pick up, pay $3,000 to a new landlord, moving truck costs, out of work for days, getting help, movers, that's $5,000. So if I just pay an extra $400 a month times 12 months, that's that $5,000, but I stretched it out over a year. My message here is to really think about those rent raises. And also, when you're renting to people, make sure that they have the ability to handle something like that. Like if you're renting to somebody that's barely meeting your income requirement, think about in a year or 2 years when you're going to raise that rent because taxes are going up, expenses, right? Utilities are going up. Think about if they can handle that because you might put them in a tough spot. Overall, I think she's going to do it. She's a younger woman. She's able-bodied. But people that are on fixed income, for example, they're going to be evicted because they only get X amount per month. They can't get a part-time job if they're on Social Security, disability, things like that. It was just a really eye-opening moment to see that. And we oftentimes don't think about the people on the other end of those letters, right, or of those emails. But they're out there. And it means way more to them than it does to you or to us in a lot of cases. So be reasonable with people. I think a 40% rent increase is aggressive. I'm a strong advocate of 5 to 10% unless they're severely below market, which in this case, I mean, she's got a 3-bedroom. She's been paying $1,100. She's kind of been getting away with that, to be honest. If we're going to rent a 3-bed in Central Falls, it's probably going to go for $2K. And that's what I told her. I said, to be honest, $1,500 is a lot. It's a big jump for you. But overall, I mean, if you moved out, we rented this apartment, we're going to get $2,000, no problem. And also a suggestion to tenants is to look for smaller spaces. You know, if it's just you and a child, maybe get away with a 1 or 2 bedroom, maybe with a double parlor as opposed to a 3-bedroom, because landlords look at value through the amount of bedrooms in a unit, which usually correlates to the amount of space in the unit, the amount of square footage, and also your heat, your electricity. It's going to be more. The more space you gotta, heat and light, you're going to be paying for that. And a lot of these properties are not well insulated. Let's face it. A lot of these properties are just wood, right? So your gas, your heat's going right out the window, literally, right off the floor. So tenants, I think, should be a little bit more alert and aware. A lot of times they don't have a choice or they have limited options. I get that. But, something like this, she's in a 3-bedroom. Eventually, somebody comes knocking and says, hey, we need more money for this unit. And that's what happened here. So just a sad story there. And they happen every day. And we also want to shed light on our tenants too, as much as we do our owners, because they're the ones that keep this business flowing, right? Without tenants, there's no landlords. There's no nexus. The tenants are the lifeblood of the operation. So we need to be more respectful and cognizant of them. Be as reasonable as possible. But at the end of the day, the bank needs their money. Chi-Chi needs her money, right? You need every dollar. Every dollar. So once again, Greg Rice, not in the bucket, your property and your tenant state of mind managed.